But for now, I want to switch to federal politics and catch up with our political editor here at Sky News, Andrew Clennell, who joins me on the desk. Good to speak to you, Andrew. Happy New Year.
Same to you, Chris.
I can't believe it's not even Australia Day and all the talk in Canberra is about the Labor leadership. You've interviewed Anthony Albanese in the past 48 hours. How serious is the talk about him being under pressure?
Well, the speculation's been going probably for 2 or 3 months. And the interesting thing about it, I think, is if you talk to people in Canberra, there's a bit of a Albanese's cooked feel about things. But then you say, well, who's going to replace him? And then you see why he's probably an even money chance or slightly better to stay in the job till the election, because those who want to see Albanese replaced within the Labor caucus are bitterly divided over who should get the job. Now, one person who does want the job is Tanya Plibersek. There's no doubt you see her lifting her profile. She's got the 2GB spot. She's got the spot with our colleague Alan Jones. But there's no way the New South Wales right, from what I hear, are going to support her under any circumstances. Someone else who probably wants it, Joel Fitzgibbon, he wouldn't have the support of the caucus. Others who want it, Chris Bowen. Jim Chalmers said not to want it. He might get some powerful support if he were to go for it, but he's only 41. So all of this sort of strengthens Albanese's position. It's just his performance is seen as not quite up to the mark. Scott Morrison seemed to have it over him. Albanese seemed to waffle a bit.
Yeah, we'll come back to the alternatives in a moment, but Anthony Albanese at least has spoken about these issues directly to you in your interview. Let's have a look at some of that.
I'm one of the few people to ever be elected to lead a major political party unopposed. That's something Scott Morrison had to knife Malcolm Turnbull and then compete with Peter Dutton and Julie Bishop to get there. I didn't have to do any of that. I had the support across the states, across the groups, men and women. I had the support of my team. So I'm very confident in my position.
So there you go, having to defend his position. All right, he's saying there's no obvious alternative leader, that he has a lot of support or came into the job with a lot of support. But what's his agenda? Where does he see? Where do you think Anthony Albanese is positioning the Labor Party to say they are better for Australians than the existing government?
That's a $64 million question, isn't it? I mean, I tried to get it out of him over 42 minutes and I couldn't manage it. And he just keeps saying, like I interviewed him last January, he says, wait. You know, I'm not going to swing at the sucker ball like Shorten did. But gee whiz, you can go the other way, can't you? And I can't think of a reason to vote for him at the moment. A lot of people out there might not think Scott Morrison's perfect. They might not even like him, but they think he's doing okay, and they don't really have a reason for change. Now, Albanese's behind. He's got to come up with a reason for change. It's not that situation where you're in front, you can go small target and you'll win. Keeps going the way he's going. Everyone knows he's not going to win unless some major catastrophe around the vaccine, etc., happens. But the concern, I think, Chris, is that there are people in Labor who actually think, is this genuinely where this guy's at? He's only been a Transport and Infrastructure Minister. He hasn't been a Treasurer. He hasn't had a lot of these other big jobs. Does he lack a vision, period?
Yeah, well, we will see, because this could well be an election year. And here's a little bit of what he had to say to you about his agenda, Labor's agenda in 2021.
Do you talk too much, though?
I have big ideas.
So they need a lot of words to express?
No, I have big ideas. And I put forward Labor's arguments. I'm interested in advancing those arguments.
So what are those big ideas? Is it like last election, more taxes, more climate action, bigger costs?
There's no doubt more climate action, but then he won't spell out the climate action because he doesn't want the division in his party. Negative gearing, he didn't rule out taking that policy again. He's ruled out franking credits. But he talks about some sort of jobs plan, but then he doesn't outline it. I guess that's up to him when he wants to outline it. But it better be good, Chris.
Pretty tough time for an opposition leader, because you're a government managing a crisis where everyone's sort of, shoulder to the wheel together. You talk about Tanya Plibersek. She's also of the left. Who is the right factional leader of the Labor Party? That's when Labor is successful, when they win government, when they have people from the right, like Paul Keating, even like Kevin Rudd, pretending to be fairly economically rationalist. Where is that person in the Labor Party? Is it Jim Chalmers?
I think it's Jim Chalmers, but long term. But people like Chris Bowen and Tony Burke, they'll want the job themselves. They won't give him a free run at it, particularly Bowen. So That's the difficulty for Chalmers. But look, I think he's seen often as the future of the party. But there aren't as many options as there were. And Chris, critically, I guess, the reason the letter is from the left is because the right couldn't find a good enough candidate, and that's a very poor reflection on the right faction of the Labor Party.
Tough start to the year for Albo. Do you reckon there will be an election late this year?
Yes, I do. I genuinely do, unless things go wrong. I think Labor's only chance of winning an election is if there is one in 2022. So if I'm advising Scott Morrison, I'm saying go this year, October, November.
You heard it first. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. Have a great year.
Cheers, Chris.
Andrew Clennell all over federal politics for us again here on Sky News in 2021.